Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
We're off and we're back. We're running. We're live. It's Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Theisen, Drew DeArmond with you on a Wednesday morning. Happy September 13th. Wow, we are 13 days through the month of September. In just, 3 weeks, 2 weeks, we will be into October. 2023 going by in a hurry, and I mean in a hurry. The college football season, the high school football season, a blur. I mean, it's going just like that.
It takes off, man. It goes by fast. Sometimes it seems like it takes forever to get here. I didn't think it did this year, but I mean, once the season gets going, man,
we're rolling.
It's like an avalanche downhill.
We're week 3.
Bam.
We're week 3 for both Alabama and Auburn this week. We'll dissect a lot of that coming up here throughout the show, but it's Wednesday, and it is the college football season. That means one thing, and one thing only. It is time for our 6th grader prognosticator. He's been with us now for 4 years. He joins us each and every Wednesday. It's the one, the only, Grady the Greek.
What's up, Grady?
What's up?
Hey,
How we doing, bud?
Good.
How's that tackle football thing working out?
Sir?
How's your progress, man? How you guys
how's
doing?
Tackle football
How's middle
coming?
school football going, bro?
It's been good.
Nice.
Okay.
Now I said yesterday you're still playing corner and wide receiver, right?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Which one do you like better?
Receiver.
Okay. You like the ball in the hands.
Well, he's following Travis Hunter, man. He's playing both ways.
Yep. All right, bud. So, first of all, I'm curious, what was your reaction to Alabama losing to Texas?
He did say it was going to be a tough game. Remember,
he
he did
did
say that.
Wasn't very good last week.
Right.
Our offensive line did not block very well.
Right.
All right. So they can rebound this week. They go on the road to South Florida in Tampa.
That's right.
Your thoughts on Alabama and South Florida?
So Bama 49, South Florida 10.
49-10. So he does not have Alabama. Well, he does. I think, is it just 31 still?
I'll check on. Let me check.
I'm looking at it right now. Okay, so let's see, Alabama and South Florida. It is 32. So he does have the Tide covering. It is a 32-point spread that I'm looking at right here, and it's on ABC.
All right, so Grady, if Alabama puts up 49 points, who is your MVP for the week?
Got him covered.
I don't have one because we don't know who will play the most at QB.
So he did. I didn't even have to ask him this question, so I can already tell that Grady's in my same boat, that there needs to be multiple QBs playing, and then very likely at some point in time a quarterback change. Do you think Jalen Milroe will be the quarterback the rest of the season, Grady?
No.
Oh, there we go. Our 6th grader prognosticator has spoken. He says no to Jalen Milroe the rest of the way.
It don't really matter if we don't block that well.
That's very true. There he goes with more analysis. So,
there we go. He's on fire today.
Yeah, he had it ready to roll.
All right. So Grady, we got to give the shout out though. Who are you going to give your shout out to this week?
Shout out to my little sister.
Oh, there she goes.
Right,
Hey, by the way, have you scored a touchdown yet, Grady?
No, sir.
Not yet. But
man.
We got to get you on the board, man.
Come on.
It's kind of like
Come on,
Alabama's got to
Grady.
get their quarterback situation worked out. Then we got to get Grady in the end zone.
We got to get you. We got to get you this.
Have you guys already played this week, Grady?
No, we play on Saturday.
Oh,
okay.
Saturday. Gotcha.
All right. Well, do you play early so you can at least get back and watch the Alabama game?
Yes.
Okay,
Awesome.
there we go. That's all that matters. All right, Grady.
There you go. Good luck, Grady.
Good luck.
Hey, Ed, by the way, I guess, do you have any other picks this week?
No, but I'll pick 2 games next week.
We got 2 games next week.
All right.
When the SEC play starts, we got
There
2
we
games
go.
a week.
There we
Grady.
go. We need to. Hey,
Yeah.
good luck. Good luck Saturday, Grady.
Thank you.
Get in the end
All
zone,
right.
bud. Thanks.
Grady the Greek has spoken for the week. 49-10, and not going with an MVP because he does not.
No, who's gonna
he
play
doesn't think Jalen Milroe will play most of this game.
I think it should only be at least half the time. I definitely think Buckner should be playing this game. Well, I think Milroe is going to start, but and I can understand where Grady's coming from because again, the passing game is I guess the best thing you'd say is it's a good idea. They need to get it going. We'll see. I mean, it was a hit and miss against Texas. It certainly hit on a couple of big plays, and then certainly the Longhorns looked like the intended receivers a couple of times. So
we got some more numbers there to talk about with Alabama. We got some comments. From Alabama. Let's go there then. 256-576-4977. You want to get back in on the show? Now is the time to do so. So yesterday, our good friends at the Next Round, Brian Brown, Jim Dunaway, they have an NIL deal with Tyler Booker.
Yeah, they come through on you every week.
And he talked about the team didn't have the best energy in practice last week. He said that they kind of took it for granted. There was just some comments there from Tyler Booker that were just kind of like, okay, kind of scratch your head a little bit. Then Kool-Aid McKinstry yesterday talked to the media as well. Here is what Kool-Aid McKinstry had to say.
Preparation that you guys had last week in terms of energy in practice?
I feel like we could have been better in practice, preparing and just working together as a defense, communicating on the back end, making sure everybody had the right adjustments. And, I feel like guys, even include me, can ask questions to coaches, ask questions to players just to make sure that we better understand what we have going on.
Didn't have the right energy, didn't have the right mindset in practice last week.
Well, I guess it's something because they lost. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I think they certainly didn't execute on offensively and defensively. I thought special teams was played winning football, but offense and defense did not. So, I mean, same song, different verse. Same things happened the last couple of years. At least when they lost a game in 21 early in the season, and they dropped one to A&M, and then this year they lose to Texas early. Last year it was they didn't pay attention to detail enough. When they lost to Tennessee. And then dropped the game at LSU. So, look, man, we'll see what this team's made of.
Right.
I mean, they're going to win Saturday because I think South Florida's horrendous. Again, the rubber's going to meet the road in the SEC. Any SEC team they play, I mean, they got a tough stretch coming up because you got 3 straight SEC games. You got Ole Miss at home, Mississippi State on the road, and then you go to Dirt Neck. So you've got 3. That's your first 3 SEC games, and any of them are capable of beating Alabama at this point in time. They have the kind of athletes to do so. I mean, I know Alabama has dominated Mississippi State they haven't lost them since Saban's first year in 2007. But I mean, Zach Arnett's team found a way to win last Saturday. They've looked pretty good. We'll find a lot out about them on at home this week.
Right.
They play LSU, and we'll find out more about the Bayou Bengals too. And then again, Lane Kiffin, I've already said it. I mean, he's come close to beating Saban before at Tennessee and at Ole Miss. So he would like nothing better than to do so. They certainly have Quinshon Judkins, who's gotten off to a slow start this year, but we know how good Quinshon Judkins is. And if Alabama can't rush the passer any better than they've done so far, then Ole Miss will definitely move the football on them. And Pete Golding, I think he's an elite DC? No, but certainly he's capable. They beat a good Tulane team who's a lot better than the South Florida team. Alabama's just getting ready to play.
Right.
And they won that. That was a true road game. So, again, Alabama's got their work cut out for them. I mean, ifs and buts is candy and nuts. Get yourself ready to play, get your mind right. And so we're going to see if they can do that come Saturday and then when SEC play starts.
Josh Pate, who will join the show in hour number 2.
Yep. He had a very interesting thing to say about Alabama yesterday.
And here is exactly what he had to say.
I think Alabama does have a problem. I don't think their coaching staff's good enough. You've said for a number of times now over the past couple of years, well, I think Alabama got outcoached. And you say it almost confused, like, well, that can't be the case. They got Nick Saban. They do have Nick Saban. Nick Saban doesn't have nearly as high caliber a staff as he's had in those vintage years. You're talking about a man who assembled a staff with Kirby Smart, Cristobal, Kiffin, Napier, Mel Tucker, Dan Lanning. Those dudes were all on the same staff at one time. You had Bo Davis, the defensive line coach. Burton Burns was great there for a long time. Scott Cochran, strength and conditioning. Their staff now could not tote that staff's jock. Every other problem you got with this team right now. Some of you talk about game plan. Who do you think that bleeds back to? Development. What do you think that falls back on? Mentality? I hear the former players barking about this all the time. What do you think they had in the mid-20 teens they don't have right now? Play calling, adjustments. I'm telling you right now, I will be very careful with this because I don't want to burn anyone. There is a widely held consensus in the coaching community that that team right there, Alabama, does not adjust in game like they used to. Probably because you got folks that used to be the caliber of an off-field analyst for them who are coaching positions right now. I, again, don't mean to paint Alabama as a poor man's program. By their own standard, their staff is a shell of the caliber of staffs they've had in the past. Still led by the same guy. But underneath Nick Saban, those folks aren't carrying the water like they used to. Here's what I'm saying. It feels like a lot of folks, to me, on Alabama's staff, count on that script A on their chest to do the work for them. And that script A is not magic. That crimson helmet's not magic. The folks who came before you made it to where it seems as such, but no, you still got to do every bit the work they did. It's just they were better than you, especially that coaching staff right now. A lot of folks they had before them are better than them. Now, you can hear that. You can acknowledge that and either do one of two things. You can crawl in a shell or you can go make a name for your own self.
Josh Pate.
Mm-hmm. There's two that are just, totally, if you're paying attention and know the game of football, there's two boat anchors that just stick out like sore thumbs.
Can I name one of them that I know where you're going with?
Oh, yeah. Sure,
Freddie Roach?
Ahead. Yep, Freddie Roach at the defensive line and Coleman Hutzler at outside linebacker. Outside linebackers, I think one of the two deepest positions on the team just from a pure talent standpoint, and they did absolutely nothing against Texas. I mean nothing. And I was told by somebody I totally respect that the Texas offensive line's good, but they don't have any top end draft picks on their O line right now. At least, the left tackle I think may end up being an NFL player, but they don't have. It's not like they were playing against. Some of these offensive lines like that we've seen Alabama play against from LSU that had Lyle Collins and a lot of these guys that played 10 years in the NFL. Now this Texas O-line may develop into that, but it wasn't considered that going into the game, and Alabama lost that battle. Right. And then, of course, we know Bo Davis. I mean, if you're comparing like Bo Davis and Freddie Roach, that's like a Rolls Royce and a Pinto. I mean, right. There's just not. There's no comparison. And then with Coleman Hutzler and Sal Sunseri, I mean, Colorado looked pretty good to me. They're a pretty good football team. Now, Sal's coaching a completely different position now. He's coaching defensive tackles, but again, I'll just say it again. It's like a Rolls Royce and a Pinto. I mean, I just think it's a big drop off at both of those positions. I don't think either coach is of the caliber of what Nick Saban has had in the past at those positions. Well, some others are to be determined. I know there's Wolford's receiving some criticism because of the offensive line, but let's let that play out. I've seen offensive lines come together and become good. And again, that Texas O-line, all I said was I didn't think right now they had a first-round draft pick that was obvious, but they may develop the rest of this year, turn out to be really good. So we'll see. And then I know Holman Wiggins has received some criticism, but I thought the wide receivers played well on Saturday. I think the offensive staff, Reeves is going to if Alabama loses, the OC is going to take heat. So he's taking heat because he just got there. But let's see how this plays out the rest of this year if they make a quarterback change. I came into the year, I liked the offensive staff, but even before the season, I was worried about Coleman, Hutzler, and Roach.
Right.
And so
right.
I think they're the two weakest links by far. Wasn't that the show back in the day? Like, you're the weakest link, goodbye.
It was. Hey, let's get a break in. 7:15, let's get our first break in. Mark from Huntsville, I know you're holding. We're going to get to you as soon as we come out of break. Give us 2 minutes. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Sounds like we got a problem with a traffic signal at 72 and County Line. HPD's dispatching officers there with a report that the light is not functioning at all. We got a little fog this morning. It's not terribly bad, but it may slow you down just a bit. You're going to pay no joining fee now at the YMCA with awesome fitness equipment, swimming pools, over 200 group classes, and free child care. Be sure to ask about the 15% off on personal training at the Y, Huntsville, and Madison. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
Do you have discomfort in your legs? Varicose veins can affect not only how your legs look, but how they feel. Symptoms of varicose veins include pain, swelling, aching, heaviness, and fatigue. Dr. Tracy Lowry of Best Vein Care of Huntsville can diagnose and treat your varicose veins with the latest minimally invasive techniques. Diagnosis and treatment is covered by most insurances. Call 256-715-7151 to schedule your free screening. Go to bestveincarehuntsville.com.
Not looking or feeling your best? No energy for the things you like to do? Ready to look and feel younger? Make your appointment at Advanced Life Clinic, one of the region's foremost destinations for patients interested in looking and feeling their best. Specializing in advanced laser treatments and weight loss, male and female rejuvenation to offset the effects of aging, and more. See how Advanced Life Clinic can help you enjoy your life again. Call 256-882-6555 or log on advancedlifeclinic.com.
Here's Bobby White from Woody Anderson Ford on their service department.
President's Award winner 2 years in a row. That's only given to the top 10% of Ford dealers in customer satisfaction. So we're very proud of the service department. And our body shop. If you happen to get into an accident, which not a lot of people just want to go down and see a body shop, but if you get into an accident, award-winning body shop. We have the state-of-the-art paint booths back there. They're waterborne paints that we use, friendly for the environment. We've got our production system, the way things are in and out. We have the fastest cycle rate in town of getting your vehicle in, getting your vehicle out, and assured that it's fixed right. We take pictures before it's wrecked, and not only after, but we take it as we're putting the parts on. All done to above industry standards. So I'm proud of our body shop too. Don't forget our parts department. So you don't have to need parts, performance parts, or just parts if you're a weekend mechanic.
Woody Anderson Ford, located at the corner of Jordan and Sparkman, as well as Hughes Road and Madison. You can also check out the great deals at WoodyAndersonFord.com.
The new favorite place for delicious Mexican food is Coralejos Mexican Grill in Huntsville. Check out their reviews on Facebook and you'll see what people are raving about. Enjoy drink specials all day Monday through Thursday, like house margaritas for $3.99 and 12-ounce drafts for $2. Even vegan-friendly entrees on Monday starting at $5. Coralejos Mexican Grill, 1658 Old Monrovia Road in Huntsville. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram to stay updated on their specials.
Tom Abraham here from my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
Welcome back, Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond with you on a Wednesday morning. What a first 15 minutes it was of the show. Our sixth grader prognosticator says Alabama 49, South Florida 10. That's where Grady the Greek is going.
Yep.
And that led us into a conversation from Josh Pate about the Alabama coaching staff not being where it has been in the past, Alabama standard-wise. 256-576-4977. You can be a part of the program. We go out to the phone lines. Mark from Huntsville is with us. Morning, Mark.
Morning.
Hey, morning, guys. Hey, I was going to see if I can add a little to the try to keep Alabama fans from jumping off any bridges to remind that we can look at the past to see how a loss can be helpful. All you got to do is look at 4 championships that Alabama won that included a loss, and most importantly, they lost to Ole Miss back in 15 in the month of September. And I remember then, and I don't know why I remember so clearly, but it was just like this loss against Texas in that, and I can't remember if the game was in Tuscaloosa. It may have been. But I remember Nick Saban talking about how don't waste an opportunity. We've heard him say that before. Don't waste an opportunity to learn from what we did wrong. And I don't know, it may just be the crimson-colored glasses, but whenever everyone turns against the tide, oftentimes that's when Alabama comes out, and can run the table. Am I saying they're going to run the table? I think they can. Now, will they? That's still to be determined, but they still, I guess I'm tired of the national media. They jump on Alabama. You got people calling for Saban, on Bomb Bomb Show, knuckleheads and stuff, but I do think that this is the perfect week for Alabama to get things together. And Drew, I still think that Alabama's going to be the favorite in every game, and including up to get to Atlanta. So then they'll be playing Georgia. So if that's if everything goes as planned, that's what's going to happen, and that gives us a chance to play for the national championship. Your thoughts on that? I'll hang up the list.
Well, until they figure out how to, the quarterback situation, I'm not going to guarantee anything. I mean,
just because you're a favorite in the game. I'll just say this, because just because you're the favorite doesn't mean.
I mean, it doesn't matter who plays quarterback Saturday. I think, I'll be honest that Milrose, to me, his leash should be very short. If he comes out and plays well, great. I mean, and can put the game away, then I think you should see Tyler Buckner in the second half. If he comes out and turns the ball over on one of the first 2 possessions, or they go 3 and out, I'd have Buckner in there quick. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't think he has any equity right now. He's been given an opportunity to compete for the job, but you've got to go out and score points. And he was feast or famine, a lot of famine in the game against Texas, and so he needs to go out and perform. But I'm sure he knows that. So we'll see if he goes out there and takes care of business. If he does, then he's going to be in there. It's just like I said. If he played well against Middle Tennessee, which it wasn't flawless against Middle, but it was really, really good.
Right.
He was going to start the Texas game, and then he earned that. And but Coach Saban himself said they almost made the change because, again, he didn't get Alabama in the end zone until the very end of the third quarter. Now, they played a good team. There's no question about that. He did make some plays in the game, but he turned the ball over quite a bit. And so, I'm just going to be interested to see how long his leash is in this coming game, and if he can get Alabama off on the right foot, and if Alabama comes out focused and executing. Because again, this is a South Florida team that had trouble with Florida A&M. They're not very good. Alex Golish, former Tennessee offensive coordinator, he's rebuilding that program.
Right.
It's a game you should handle, but there's no guarantees, and so you got to go out there and execute. Regardless, if he does execute, we're seeing Buckner in the second half, and if he doesn't, then we'll see Buckner in the first half. And who knows? Maybe from what I'm hearing, Buckner's received a lot of reps with the ones this week so far. Maybe they go with a scripted plan this time. They have not in the first 2 games.
I see what you're saying.
And what I mean by scripted is for 2 quarterbacks. The first 2 games, it was, okay, Milrose, your show. And it was his show, and we'll see if that continues.
All right. Do we got Jason? Is Jason with us? All right, let's go to Jason real fast. Good morning, Jason.
Hey, good morning, fellas.
Morning.
Hey, the coaches, if there's no energy down there, that's because we got lazy coaches. That's an awful excuse. The no energy, makes no sense.
Well, I can tell you this: two of the energy vampires I mentioned already.
Yeah, and why I cannot understand Texas. What is AJ Milwee role with the University of Texas?
He's the quarterback's coach.
coach.
Yeah, that's correct. Quarterback's coach. That's right.
And for those that don't know, A.J. Milwee, former Boaz Pirate, former UNA. Well, Alabama. He had a stop there at Alabama, then transferred to UNA, where he was an all-GSC performer for the Lions.
And then he worked his way up as a coach at Alabama, and then went with Sark. Yeah.
Well, he started at UNA. Started with it was Bobby Wallace, right?
You're right about that. I think he was with Terry Bowden.
Terry Bowden. That's it. It was Bowden that gave him his start.
But
there.
he did.
And then he went to Akron.
He was the second youngest OC in the country.
Yep.
Then he came back to Alabama as an analyst, and then left with Sark. And of course. They torched Alabama Saturday.
Yeah, there's your coach. I mean, that's the guy from Notre Dame. Get somebody at Bleach Crimson down there. He would be perfect for the job.
Well, I mean, we'll see. I mean, I just think you got to let the thing with Reeves play out. I mean, look, I remember Bill O'Brien. He took tons of heat last year. Because Alabama struggled some offensively. I still thought he did a solid job. I had more concern about Pete Golding, but again, they've made changes at both positions, and we'll see how both of them work out. Kevin Steele, I thought they looked great the first game. Definitely had some issues in the second contest, so. We're going to see this coaching staff. Josh Pate called them out, and I think rightfully so. We'll see how they respond, just like the players on Saturday.
I mean, the defensive line coach, if you can't get a pass rush, rotate some of those young bucks in there. They're ready. They'll be willing to go.
Yeah,
we got players that's lazy.
Well, if they're being developed properly, which that's my biggest problem, because I actually think Hutzler's a good recruiter. Roach, so at best. I don't think either one of them, though, are great developers of talent. Like when it's for example, when you saw Bo Davis at Alabama in the past, look at all the guys in the NFL that Alabama's, they got active, and since Bo left. And really, they haven't had any first-round draft picks. Now, he left some there that other guys had got a chance to coach. Not Roach, though. The last one being, of course, Quinnen Williams in 2018. I guess that was Roach's first year, but Quinnen had already been recruited and developed by others. But again, I think when you look at it overall, they've had a second-round pick in Barmore, but he wasn't recruited by Freddie either. And so that's my biggest issue, to be honest with you, is I think the recruiting and development has lacked at that position. And again, Fedarian Mathis, I guess you could credit Freddie with Fedarian Mathis. I mean, he did develop into a good player, but again, it's just been few and far between at the position. I just don't think it's been the standard that Alabama's looked for. And then Sal Sunseri, look, I mean, Will Anderson was the National Defensive Player of the Year for 2 years in a row, but he was more dominant in 21 when Sal was there. And then you remember when Drew Sanders got hurt, they plugged in Dallas Turner and just kept rolling. But Dallas Turner hasn't made a play to me since he was a freshman.
Right. It's like what I can't understand. It's like in Saturday's ball game, we got the Proctor kid. He's going to be a good ball player.
Yeah.
But when you have a 367-pound offensive lineman and you line him up against a 250-pound defensive end that's athletic, the defensive end's going to see him every time and get to the quarterback. Why are we not using the transfer from Maryland to help him block on that side?
Well, they did do some two tight ends in the first game. That's interesting. It's going to be that may be an adjustment potentially that they make in the next game, but it goes back to something Josh said in his piece, and that's adjustments in game that he thinks have been lacking.
All right, Jason, thanks for the phone call, but we want to move on here real fast. Let's get to Richard real fast before the break. Good morning, Richard.
What's up, Richard?
Morning, guys. Drew, you're on TI, and one thing Rodney talked to some Texas people, and they said they wanted to make Milroe, read options after his first option was basically their game plan.
Yeah, there's no question. They wanted to make him read and make him throw the football and contain him in the pocket and not let him make explosive runs. He made one 20-yard run on a quarterback draw, and then and again, the offensive line does have issues. They've got to work through those, but I still think with the game plan they put together now. You hear people say, well, if they'd done a zone read deal the whole game, maybe they would have moved the ball better. I still think they would have struggled to throw it just simply because it doesn't really matter schematically what they do. I think, the biggest issues for Milroe, it's not arm strength. He's got a heck of a strong arm. It's, accuracy, the decision-making, and the ball coming out on time, and he's going to struggle no matter what you do offensively passing the football.
I don't think we could have run in a million years. I mean, several times we handed the ball off the second half. The safety was in the backfield. They weren't any more worried about the pass than me.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
Several times, it wasn't the linebacker making the tackle, and it was like the safeties were shot out of a rocket the second half.
Totally agree.
One thing that got me, I was surprised. It was probably 4 times that we didn't get the play in. The players were turned around backwards. Probably 3 or 4 times, and that's it's one thing to get burned, but another one to not that seems, you were talking to coaching, that seems almost like coaching there to where you're not getting the play in fast enough. And Texas was lined up.
Right. No, there was a lot of things. There's a lot of things, but the thing is, this is where, Drew, I guess we got to be careful not to. You want to react to a lot of the stuff that you see on the field. If Alabama comes out against South Florida and they correct a lot of these things, and then they get into the SEC play and then they correct some more, then it's okay. Then it shows signs of improvement. It shows signs that they're working on things. They're getting better. Maybe this Alabama team is just young at certain areas. Richard, we do got to get a break in. Let's get one in. When we come back, phone lines are back open to you. Plus, the conversation continues. Plus, it's an anniversary of one of the ugliest games in college football.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A partly sunny sky this afternoon. Temperatures climbing into the low and mid-80s. Maybe an isolated shower across the area. Otherwise, it does look like we are going to end up staying dry. Temperatures drop into the upper 50s, lower 60s as we head into the overnight, early into your Thursday morning. Fairly confident most of us are going to start the day in the upper 50s. A partly sunny sky Thursday afternoon. Temperature climbing once again into the low and mid-80s. It does look like we are going to stay dry on Thursday. Much the same as we head into your Friday. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Apparently, they've got problems with the traffic signal at 72 and County Line. They've dispatched officers there to direct traffic till they get that one back online. And we've had a few reports of fog this morning, although it is not nearly as bad as it was yesterday. D&L Refrigeration repairs heating and air conditioning units for homes and businesses. D&L 256-652-1207. State license 08091. Captain Eck in the Jordan Lane, Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
Tom Abraham here for my friends at Alumni Hall. Alumni Hall is the ultimate shopping experience for Alabama and Auburn fans. Located right here in Huntsville, come shop the best selection of officially licensed apparel, hats, Yeti, accessories, and gifts. Whether you're heading to the spring game or shopping graduation gifts or just love to show your school pride daily, come see us at Alumni Hall. University students, faculty, and military receive 10% off in store, and you can earn cash back with our Hall Pass rewards. Alumni Hall, located in Bridge Street Shopping Center, or shop anytime at alumnihall.com.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
These days, saving time is important, and saving money is even more so. That's where Eagle Masonry and Insulation comes in. Over the years, Eagle has expanded their services to meet the needs of folks like you in our area. If you're ready to lower your utility bills, Eagle can insulate your home and help you save money with fiberglass, spray foam, and cellulose insulation, and can help you decide what's best for your project. Call Eagle Masonry and Insulation today at 256-755-1556. Eagle saves you time, and Eagle saves you money.
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time, or even show up at all? I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is we show up. Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve, and we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs: residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. We are manufacturer certified for roof coatings, single-ply membranes, and asphalt shingles. Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding the solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing, we have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates, residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, it's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. And it is an anniversary of sorts for one of the ugliest college football games. I don't know if it's it was ugly. We're just going to say it was ugly. On this day, September 13th, 2008, this is what Auburn and Mississippi State fans were
3-2.
Going to attempt this field goal from 35 yards out. He's 4 for 5 on the season. Picked a couple of game winners last year, and this one is good. Wes Byram puts the first points on the board tonight. 3rd and 9 coming up. Todd passing out of his end zone. Flag down.
Holding number 50 offense. The foul occurred in the end zone by rule after safety.
Listen up, folks. The final score. Boy, this is going to be nice to say. 3-2. That's right.
Tommy Tuberville, Sylvester Croom. Those were your head coaches for Auburn and Mississippi State. September 13th, 2008. The infamous 3-2 game.
Yep, I remember. You kind of figured that Tuberville was on his last legs, and a 36-0 beatdown was on the horizon in Tuscaloosa. And I'll never forget watching some of that game, coming back from Tuscaloosa that weekend. And I mean, I couldn't believe it. I was like, "You got to be kidding me!" 3-2. Never seen anything like it with the ineptitude offensively, and
I don't think we've seen anything like it since.
Have
we?
Nah, I mean, Milroe scored 24 points on Saturday. I mean, Lord. And then Auburn was not great at Cal, but, I mean, they scored 14 points. And, and the game really could have been Auburn in the first half into the third quarter. If they hadn't been their own worst enemy and turned the ball over 4 times, they might have, beat Cal 28-10, something like that. It's just they shot themselves in the foot repeatedly, but found a way to win because Eugene Asante played like a madman, and the defense, Marcus Harris, all those guys played really well. DJ James, and Auburn got the win defensively. But yeah, I guess when you watch that game on Saturday, it was even more surprising because you just don't see. I mean, it was a 13-10 game with Minnesota and Nebraska, where Minnesota won. In this day of college football, you don't see many of those rock fights anymore where teams can't score.
All right, let's go back out to the phone lines. Brandon is with us this morning. Morning, Brandon.
Morning, gentlemen.
basking in the home runs by Acuna and by Matt Olson, man. They make it look easy.
Yep. Mattio's got 51 now, and making he and Acuna making it strong cases for MVPs. Acuna's 3 away from 3 home runs from being the first 40-60 guy in the history of baseball. So we'll see.
It'd be nice for him. It'd be nice for him to rewrite the book twice in one season.
Well, another is a really amazing stat, Brandon, is he's closing in on 100 RBIs from the leadoff spot.
Yes.
You know,
I'm talking about this hitting on this team is amazing, and I did not see it being like this year. I mean, it has been a pleasant surprise to see what these guys have been able to put on. Really, really good. Wanted to say something. You remember when Tosh Lapoy was basically relieved of his duties, about 3 or 4 games into the season for the rest of the year?
Yeah.
Okay. Why does nobody ask Nick Saban in these press conferences, say, hey, people feel like Coleman Hustler and Freddie Roach are garbage, and they wonder why you continue to employ them? Why will nobody ask him, man? I sure would if I had a chance, and just to see what he says.
Well, it's a great question. I mean, I think they do. It's been done in a roundabout way because just like they were talking about the pass rush production this week in the press conferences already, and what do you need to do to generate more pressure? It's just generally not the protocol to call out a head coach in the media by name. Like I'm just talking about like a beat writer in a press conference kind of thing. Now we're sports talk radio hosts. These guys make a ton of money. We can do that, but it's just
you don't call out
not
the
done in press
coach's name. You call out the position. You say, hey, could the outside linebackers have done anything differently?
Yeah,
or could they have?
And that's kind of what's being done this week.
Yeah.
It's just that's the way it has to be done.
Well, see, I wonder that. I always wonder why people play so nice. I'm trying to think of his name, the guy that works for Barstool, the Brandon guy.
You're going to get me on that one. I don't know.
He is a sledgehammer in a antique shop, buddy. That guy does not care, and I feel like we need a little more of that. I almost feel like Saban just got tired of rehiring all the time, and he's tried to basically recap tires, and it hadn't worked. And I'm not mad at Saban. I'm not calling for his job, none of that stuff. I just feel like at some point you got to say to yourself, these guys are not what we move on with the media. And I'm like, why don't people ask real questions? Why don't you say what it is you really want to say and ask the question it is that you really want to answer?
Yeah, Brandon kind of breaking up there on us a little bit. Great phone call, Brandon, and he's right. But I tell you what, though, the last thing I'm going to do, and it's not because of fear, it's not because of anything, but, man, I ain't going to sit there in a press conference and ask Nick Saban about his coaching staff.
It's not done. I mean, that's just it's just kind of etiquette and whatnot if you understand the way the media works. And I'm talking about this would have been a situation like that 25 years ago. When and even 30 plus when Gene Stallings was there. You're not going to ask that question.
Right. Let's get to Mike from Opelika real fast. Good morning, Mike.
Hi, good morning, guys. Enjoy the show.
Thank you.
Let me ask y'all, do you think Coach Saban, I know he evolved his offense. Do you think his defense, he needs to take a look? He says he self-scouts, but it seems to me elite offensive minds have figured out his defense. I mean, you look back last year, Tennessee, wide open receivers running down the field, Texas wide open. It seemed like good offensive minds know how to line up, knowing what we're going to do, and then have got it figured out. Do you see that, or is it just me? Because he had the same thing last year. He talked about, we had mental errors, mental mistakes in the secondary. Well, you're having it again this year. And a perfect example is Eli Ricks. I know last year he was injured some, but he couldn't get on the field. Supposedly, he couldn't figure out the defense. But when you needed him, you put him in the state game, you put him man on man, and he shuts down their top receiver. So, and I'd just like to hear y'all's opinion.
Well, I mean, you could say maybe schematically they probably needed and I think it goes back to what Josh Pate said earlier in the show that the lack of adjustments, and at times Pete Golding would his defenses would look bad in the first half, but they would adjust things in the second. I still think it's
funny
more
how that worked at Ole Miss Tulane on Saturday.
Well, yeah, I mean
It's the exact same thing.
They finally shut it down in the fourth quarter. Well, I just think in the second half, really, but I just think overall, though, I think it's more of an execution thing. I think they've got to get guys to execute, and I still say, look, man, that secondary that everybody's ripping apart for Alabama last year. Them dudes are all in the NFL. I'm just talking about, all the DeMarco Helms, and he was I sent a quote by him yesterday about not agreeing with the criticism that a lot of the Alabama players are taking. But I mean, you look at it. He's in the NFL. Jordan Battle's in the NFL. Of course, Branch, I think, is going to have a great NFL career. Eli Ricks made the Eagles. So all these dudes are still NFL players. I still think it goes back to the front seven, especially the last year, and for parts of as far as in the 2021 season at times. Even though I think that rounded into form, and you have to give the 21 defensive line credit. They had a war daddy and certainly in Fedarian Mathis. But I just think a lot of the problems a year ago for Alabama defensively, there was communication issues, and I think the front seven wasn't good enough. And I mean the entirety of it, because guess what? There's a new inside linebackers coach, and then the other common denominator is there's the same defensive line coach and the same outside linebackers coach, and I don't think either one of them are up to the standard that we've seen at Alabama in the past.
All right. Well, thank y'all so much. Enjoyed the show.
All right. Thanks, Mike.
And the thing is, like, if you have a better pass rush and you're executing better, that's going to help the secondary. Just like offensively, if your quarterback has better pocket presence, if he gets rid of the ball on time and if he throws it accurately, it's going to help the offensive line. It's going to help the running game.
All right, we got to get a break in. Bama Bino, I know you're holding. We're going to get to you as soon as we come out of the break. 256-576-4977. You can join us as well when we return.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
It has been an excellent ride in so far this morning. Had one little minor accident on Governors. It's off in a parking lot. And we have a traffic signal malfunction at 72 and County Line. HPD was looking at that one. Sounds like they'll have signal engineers on the way to take care of it. You get 2 pieces of hand-battered, juicy, tender signature chicken and a buttermilk biscuit for $4.99 at Popeyes. Popeyes University in Jordan, 72 in Jeff, and North Parkway. Captain Neck in the Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
This is Wes Neighbors sitting here with Philip Love of not only Eagle Installation, now he represents Eagle Companies. Eagle through the years have added several companies to help individuals or builders through their construction renovation process. Eagle is known to represent quality, efficiency, and professionalism. Philip, I know you do insulation, but do you do masonry?
We do.
Do you do grading, erosion control, and dirt hauled off?
We do.
Do you do after paint, which includes shower doors, mirrors, shelving blinds, and bath hardware?
Yes, we do, Wes.
Do you do landscaping and irrigation?
Yes, we do.
So basically, Eagle can help you all along your process of building your house or doing renovations. So do you do plumbing?
We do not, Wes, but we can find somebody to do it.
Just give them time. They'll be there. Anyway, call Eagle Insulation at
256-755-1556.
Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money. Call Eagle today.
Thanks, Wes.
Did you know that Valley Equipment Rental also specializes in day and weekend rentals to homeowners? The weekend rentals is by far the best deal that they offer. If you pick up after 2 on a Friday or anytime Saturday morning, it's not due in until Monday morning before 8 a.m. for a one-day charge. For a small fee, Valley can even haul anything they carry. Valley has extremely experienced and knowledgeable staff that can help you decide what size machine you need or what type of machine you need to get your job done like a pro. They have all the big items that the contractors need for their jobs, but they also carry the small tools that can help you with your DIY project. More importantly, Valley is locally owned and operated, which means when you have an issue, you can get someone on it right away, right here in the Valley. Heck, ask for Ross Roberts, the owner, if you like. Try calling one of the big box national outlets and ask for the owner. That's if you can even get through the automation. Buy local. Buy Valley Equipment Rental. Valley Equipment Rental has 2 locations, one on the North and South Parkway. Learn more at valleyequipmentrents.com.
Sitting here with Mark Kent of Southern Fidelity Mortgage Group of Huntsville. Mark, do you help pre-qualify people?
We pre-qualify people all the time, Wes. As a matter of fact, I love having them coming in here because when they come in and they pre-qualify, they can leave my office knowing exactly how much they can buy and have no worries.
Mark, tell me about your rates and pricing.
Well, Wes, this is something we're really, really proud of. Long story short is, I love being able to provide the best pricing in town. Honestly, I cannot tell you the last time I lost a deal to either rate or pricing, something I'm very proud of.
So what all financing options do you have, Mark?
We do several different things. If you're purchasing a home, we can handle the purchase. If you're wanting to refinance your home, of course, rates are at the lowest they've been in the last 3 years. We do a lot of refinancing. If you're building a home, we can handle the entire process from breaking ground to the final close.
Do you sleep with your phone?
Wes, if you want to reach me, you can call me at my office phone, which is 256-562-1000. But always remember, I sleep with my cell phone at night. That number is 256-656-5936.
This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com.
Welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. It is a Wednesday morning, and we have had a very entertaining 51 minutes of show so far. We still have an hour and 9 more minutes to go, so hopefully we will do just as good on the back end as we've done on the front end. 256-576-4977. That's how you can be a part of the program this morning. Let's go back out to the phone lines. Bama Bino, we said we'd get you after the break. Bama Bino with us first. Good morning, sir.
Good show, guys.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
I agree with Josh Pate on a lot of things. I'm curious as to why one name he left out, and it's very curious. Pruitt, he didn't mention him. He leaves Alabama. Not only that, before that, he won 4 or 5 state championships at Hoover and defense. Then he leaves Saban and goes to Florida State, and I've never heard anybody say that if he wasn't down there, that Florida State would have beat Auburn. And he comes back, and when Pruitt was there, our defense might not have changed. I know Chief last night pointed out it's been the same since Saban's been there, but we have had 4-man front. Occasionally we've had edge rushers that was design rushers that all their job is to get to the quarterback. And every time we go against a real good quarterback, they have all day to write a book because we don't rush them. I mean, 3 men can't rush. I don't see how 3 men can rush if you don't have a designed edge rusher with the kind of talent we had last year. I don't remember Anderson and Turner's name getting called out a whole lot with the kind of talent we have of sacking quarterbacks because I guess they dropped them into coverage. Some last year, I know against Tennessee, we didn't adjust. Maybe I'm not the only one that don't think we adjust. I mean, we have occasionally, but we kept the same game plan. It wasn't that we just decided to put a little more pressure on the quarterback. If we're not going to do that, they're going to throw the ball to number 3 on most key plays. They're going to pick on number 3 because he still thinks it's illegal to turn around and look for the ball. Mm-hmm. I hadn't seen him do that. The other 2 I have seen do that. But I know it's Saban's defense, but we can tweak it a little. And we've got to get, if we're not going to tell them they can turn around and look for the ball, then we've got to get pressure on the quarterback or they're going to pick us apart.
Agreed. And that's what Quinn Ewers did Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't touch him.
Didn't get pressure. Quinn Ewers, great success rate.
Texas, they didn't blitz a ton, and they got home 5 times. Alabama didn't blitz a ton, and they did not get home at all. So that was one of the big differences in the game. Alabama turned the ball over twice, and Alabama got 10 penalties. So Alabama's got a lot of stuff to clean up, even against South Florida. We'll see how they play. And then going into SEC play where I just think now that you've seen this Alabama team play a couple of games, I don't think anybody can have a really good grip on how good they're going to play and how good they're going to look. You just don't know right now because Middle Tennessee, who I think is a pretty good team, who's probably going to be a bowl team, they crushed. But they against Texas, while they did some good things in the game, made some big plays, they played pretty well defensively for a quarter and a half. They didn't play as well at times and gave up a lot of big plays, as Bambino saying, through the air. They just got a lot of things to work on, and so it's going to be interesting.
All right, Bambino, thanks for the phone call, bud.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, bud. All right, short time left here in hour number 1. Coming up to kick off hour number 2, we want you to stay with us because yesterday we announced that the Sparkman Senators were our Bryant Bank 97.7 ESPN The Zone Team of the Week. Coming up and to kick off hour number 2, their head coach will join us this morning to talk about being Team of the Week. Ronnie Watson, Sparkman Senators head coach. And then Josh Pate in hour number 2 will join us. And if you did not hear it in hour number 1, Josh Pate talked about the Alabama coaching staff not being stout as what it once was. And he will come on and he will talk some more about that and talk more about other good stuff. All that, though, coming up in hour number 2 of Talking Ball. Also got some stats and some information from about Alabama's rushing game we'll go over in hour number 2. You also had Grady the Greek join us right out of the gates, Drew. 49-10. Alabama over South Florida by Grady the Greek, our 6th grader prognosticator, but it was his MVP that was intriguing. Not going with an MVP on offense because he says he did not know if Jalen Milroe or didn't think Jalen Milroe would be playing the whole time. That is Grady the Greek's opinion. You kind of agree with that as well, that maybe Saturday Alabama has multiple quarterbacks back there in the backfield.
Well, I would have probably gone with somebody like Jace McClellan as the MVP because I think Alabama's going to run the football and run it well. I think the offensive line is going to go get back to work. But, yeah, I mean, the passing game, you don't know who's going to be playing the majority of the snaps at quarterback and, how they're going to execute. So, I mean, it's hard. Ja'Cory Brooks has been a non-factor in the first 2 games. We thought he would be a solid, at least number 2 wide receiver at Alabama. So again, they've got to get. To be honest with you, the 2 most productive receivers on the team right now. One's a tight end, Amari Niblack, and of course Jermaine Burton. He's made some explosive plays, but you don't know about the passing game right now.
All right, let's get that 2-minute break in. When we come back again, we will visit with our Bryant Bank 97.7 ESPN The Zone Team of the Week winner, the Sparkman Senators. Their head coach, Ronnie Watson, dials in next.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Unlike other credit cards that decline sports betting transactions or treat them as a cash advance, the G-Bank Visa Signature Card can load directly to your favorite sportsbook apps. G.bank/VSiN.
It's official. The Jets will be without Aaron Rodgers for the remainder of the season. The four-time MVP tore his Achilles tendon when he was sacked in Monday night's game. Surprisingly, the Jets rallied to win it 22-16 in overtime. The Jets were the co-7th choice in odds to win the Super Bowl at plus 1,800, but following the injury, the Jets now at plus 2,500, which is where they opened back in February. The Chiefs remain the favorite at plus 700. The Niners and Eagles now plus 800. Baseball, the AL West race is red hot. Seattle and Texas chasing Houston. The Astros are minus 230 to win it. The Mariners plus 360. Get the latest lines and more at vsin.com.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
And welcome back in, Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. It is hour 2 of our program. It is time once again for us to delve into our team of the week.
Each week, they lace it up. Each week, we'll present our team of the week.
Get it in here! I got one thing to say!
So it's time for the Bryant Bank Team of the Week presentation.
Indeed it is. Last week, all across North Alabama, teams dipped into region play. This week, week 3 of the high school football season, we'll see teams back in region play. Several teams have bye weeks. Several teams had bye weeks last week. One of those teams that did not, our Bryant Bank Team of the Week, the Sparkman Senators at home last week. Boy, oh boy. You go back in the series, the last 3 or 4 meetings between Sparkman and Austin, it has been an all-out battle between the Senators and the Black Bears. Friday night, no exception. Sparkman prevails. They are this week's 97.7 ESPN, The Zone, Bryant Bank Team of the Week.
Yeah, they are. They're off to an outstanding start under first-year head coach Ronnie Watson. They're 3-0 right now. They started off 7A Region 4 play with that huge win over at the Capitol at Sparkman's campus. They win the game 21-18. Last year they lost a heartbreaker 24-21 when the tying field goal was no good. This time the field goal was no good from the Austin Black Bears. And the Black Bears have been super impressive in the first 2 weeks, winning against Hartselle 28-17. And then, I believe it was a 35-3 they beat the Decatur Red Raiders in the River City battle. So they had been very, very impressive, very physical. But Sparkman was certainly up to the task, and it was an emotional week too because it seems like that a lot. Hazel Green's been affected by this earlier in the season when they lost one of their teammates to a car accident. The same thing has happened with Sparkman. Prayers go out to the entire football team and Jaden J.D. DeJarnett's family as he passed away in a car accident. Just several days ago. And so these kids had to play with heavy hearts on Friday night, but they certainly played well, and they got a huge win for their football team, and now they will be our Bryant Bank Team of the Week. And for that reason, Ronnie Watson is joining us this morning on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Coach, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well, living the dream.
Yeah, yes, sir,
Coach,
no doubt.
Yeah, congratulations. First of all, congratulations on the start.
Right.
It's been an impressive non-conference or non-region start. But then you back that up with a very impressive region game to kick off the region campaign.
Yes, sir. I mean, the first couple of weeks being out of region play, we're just focused on, doing what we do, and then, getting into week 3 against Coach Perkins and Austin, and like I was telling everybody last week, when you see the Austin Black Bears on the schedule, it's going to be a physical, emotional 4-quarter football game. And, that's exactly what it was on Friday.
Yeah, I mean, they're certainly they run the football. They're very sound defensively. They're big on both lines of scrimmage, Coach, no question about it. But also, you got to give your kids a lot of credit. If you lose a classmate, I certainly had that happen during my time at Huntsville High. It's very emotional because a lot of these kids grew up knowing each other. Your kids showed a lot of mental fortitude and being able to work their way through that and still play at a high level on Friday night.
Yeah, I don't think a group of young men and all my youth coaches have impressed me more with the way they handled themselves, they handled the situation, and I commend all the coaches on our coaching staff, our senior class. They really got in, and we've seen what the leadership of our program can do.
Mm-hmm. Was there a moment after the game where the clock hits 0, you get into the locker room, and you just take that deep breath, that exhale, and just kind of not relax, but just kind of just sit there and wow, and just feel a little bit of stress, kind of relief?
Yeah, I would. It would probably been as we were walking off the field, so at the end of the game. But with everyone and all the emotions and stuff, we went right in and started working on this week. So, you take that breath. That breath doesn't last long, and because it's my job to make sure we get the kids prepared every week. So.
Wayne, Coach, obviously you were the DC a year ago. You worked for LaRon White. You've moved up to the head coaching position. So there has been a lot of continuity within the program. How has it been to keep, building on what Coach White did during his time there? And I know he perennially got this team to the playoffs. I know part of the fuel for this senior class, though, is they did fall a game short of the playoffs a year ago. But how has that transition been for the program as you have taken over as head coach?
I mean, Coach White did a great job building the foundation, and, I've said since day one of getting the job, our job's to not let it go backwards. It's to keep building and keep, day by day on it. I still talk to him, weekly, getting advice and things like that. It's keeping that work ethic in there, whether it be the classroom, the weight room, practice. Last year, I mean, the guys really, from media days this year, we talk about it weekly. Remember that pain last year when we came up short and didn't get to the playoffs and didn't get to send Coach White out the right way. Especially our upperclassmen are taking that to heart and, making sure every practice we're performing the way we need to, not taking any reps off in the weight room, because they don't want to feel that same disappointment they did last year.
What has impressed you the most so far, though, about this team and the 3-0 start?
I would say their overall togetherness of the team. The team, has meshed so well this year. You're at practice, and, of course, there's offense, there's versus defense. Everything we do from the start of practice to the end of practice is competition. But once we break it down at the end of practice, it's all family again. And how these guys hold each other up in the good times and the bad times, by far, to me, has got us farther this year to this point than anything else. I mean, they're holding each other accountable. It's absolutely amazing to see these guys doing what they've done this year.
And then, Coach, talk about your defense, because as you said, coming into this game, we had kind of been looking toward it. We knew that this was going to be a big litmus test for both teams. Austin had already beat a really good Hartsville team that was highly ranked. They're coming in too, wanting to once again make a run at another region championship. They've been a perennial contender in 7A and a state championship contender in 6A under Coach Perkins in his 14th year. But what did you see on film going into the game against Austin, and talk about how your defense played in that game? Because as you had told us at the start of the conversation, going in the physical challenge that is going to face for your football team.
Yeah, so we really focused in on we had to match the physicality. up front. I mean, you have to, because if not, they're going to move you all around. I believe their hashtag this year is one block at a time. And, I mean, they do it. They know how to block. They know how to get down. They know how to get dirty. I mean, just like those guys in the trenches are supposed to. And we knew up front we were undersized. We'd have to use our speed. We'd have to make sure that we, gapped out in the box. Coaches, our defensive staff, Coach Harris, our defensive coordinator, they put a great plan together, as they always do. And the guys went out and did a great job executing it. But we just knew we had to match in the box, because if you don't match in the box against any Coach Perkins team, you're not going to come out successful at all.
You had a balanced attack Friday night. Through the air, Josh Ward, 179 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. Jaden Thomas, 117 on the ground. A big run there in the third quarter. Very balanced attack Friday night.
Yes, sir, and that was, again, we saw some things as far as personnel packages we needed to put in. I believe we were spread out the entire night, just trying to open up some space all around the field. Because, again, up front, they're very physical. They're very good. You got number 8 on that defensive line that's a grown man. So we just we spread things out. Jaden Thomas, drip. He broke a couple. Josh Ward did a good job, finding some open men. Offensive line did a good job, up front blocking. I thought they did. They had probably their best game of the year last week, and we told them they'd have to for us to be successful. So all the way around, it was just spreading it out. Coach Spencer Smith, our offensive coordinator, did a great job finding some matchups that would be positive for us, and he used it.
He really did, and it always helps to have a senior quarterback like Josh Ward, who has a lot of experience, had a big year last year. But I had someone reach out to me on Twitter who has been watching Jamarion Matthews, your defensive end, the sophomore. He had a huge game. He recovered a fumble, had 3 sacks. That's for a guy, that's still really early in his Sparkman career. That's a big time performance, Coach.
Yes, sir. I mean, he's had a great year. He come on during the off season. Even as a sophomore, has been in, vocally leading, on the field leading. He had a breakout night. He did. Got to use his speed, his quickness, and build off those first 2 games. But yeah, Friday night, he was a big surprise. For us. I mean, in a positive way on. Going in and executing what needed to be executed. And, our defensive line coaches do a great job with him every week, working extra with him, just trying to get him caught up to where he needs to be. And I think right now he's caught up.
Mm-hmm. Well, Coach, how do you take the momentum then that you picked up with that win against Austin? A tough game, a physical game, a game that really everyone had to be on the same page. Now you travel to an Albertville program where, I mean, it's not the same as Austin, but you still need to be at that high level.
Us is play within ourselves. Do what we're supposed to do on a daily basis, no matter who they put in front of us. That Albertville team, they're a very young team, but man, Coach Brown has got those guys playing as hard as they possibly can every snap. So. It's to keep us, right now we work on it every week, but we want to do the things that we're supposed to do and execute to make us successful, no matter if it's any team in the state that we're playing. So it's, we'll go into Friday, we'll bust down there, but we'll eat pregame meal exactly at the same time. Everything will be exactly like it would be if it was a home game to us.
No question about it. And Coach, I wanted to ask you too about, Scott made a great point about how balanced offensively you guys were, no question about it. But also, I know so far this season, Jaden Thomas has been big running the football for you, helping Josh Ward balance out this offense. He had a 53-yard TD in the game, over 100 yards rushing. What's been the key to his development for you this year?
A lot of him is him himself. I mean, he's always working. He's going to be the first guy in the weight room. He's going to be the last guy that leaves the weight room. He is a film guy. He studies every member of the defense on the other team. He's doing and all that. He's also got, about over a 4.3 grade point average.
Wow.
He's just a hard worker. Again, I remember when he was a freshman and he was about the size of a pencil. And I mean, he's really, really worked because he's not the biggest guy. He's never been the biggest guy, but he's going to outwork you and he's going to keep those legs moving.
Well, Coach, what does it mean for this program to pick up this Bryant Bank Team of the Week honor?
Oh, it's great. Anytime you can positively, do anything, especially as a team, it's always a great thing. Very proud of the young men, very proud of the coaching staff, proud for the school, because, we're a big community here, and it takes everybody to make it happen, no different than just a kid. It takes a village. So, very proud, and I know they are too, and, excited to, keep building off this last week and, hopefully get to talk to you guys again.
Well, and Coach, I got to say, too, congratulations to your squad because we know how dominant you've been in the wins over Hazel Green and Huffman. And really, for 3 quarters, at the start of the fourth quarter, you're up 21-3 against a really good Austin team. Now, Austin, to their credit, they responded. They were mentally tough. They came back and fought. But how big was it for your team to survive that game and to have their first gut check of the season and get a win?
It was big. It was big. But like you said, you got hit in the stomach, you got hit in the mouth, and you swung back. I think they showed a whole lot of character, a whole lot of drive, and just to cap off a week that those young men had, and they were able to do that.
All right, Coach. Congratulations.
Yeah, congrats, Coach, to you and Sparkman Senders.
Thank you, guys.
Ronnie Watson, Sparkman head coach. They are our Bryant Bank 97.7 ESPN The Zone Team of the Week. We're headed their way later this week for a special check presentation. Let's get a break in. College football conversation returns, as does your phone calls, 256-576-4977.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Good morning. Drivers doing a great job this morning. Traffic's been moving along nicely. We've had a couple of minor accidents. They've been moved to parking lots. Had a couple of traffic signal problems, including 72 and County Line. HPD looked at it. I think they'll have signal engineers there later getting it taken care of. Snelling has immediate need for an admin professional with receiving experience. It's a contract assignment in South Huntsville. Snelling, how the area's best companies hire talent. Huntsville.snelling.com. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
At Mr. Sparky, we're America's on-time electrician. Flickering lights and hot switches can be annoying, but they can also signal a major problem, or worse, an electrical emergency. So play it safe and leave it to the experts at Mr. Sparky. Trust our team of professional, clean, and friendly electricians. We'll get it done right and get it done safely.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8-SPARKY.
Independently owned and operated, licensed in the respective state or county.
Chapman Commercial Realty, your source for Alabama commercial real estate. Chapman Commercial Realty has the experience and expertise you're looking for when making commercial real estate decisions. If it's office space, retail space, investment property, or project development, Chapman Commercial Realty is your answer. Call Bill Chapman today at 256-656-8413. That's 256-656-8413. Or find them online at chapmancommercialrealty.com.
Are you in the market for a recreational vehicle? Do you want to get out and see more of this beautiful country? Well, imagine hearing the laughter of your little ones enjoying gooey s'mores by a cozy campfire and making lasting memories with your friends and family from the comfort of a new camper. We can make your dreams come true at Hall's RV. With over 15 years in the camping business, we know how to get our customers into the perfect camper. We have several models and floor plans here for you to choose from, both new and used. We're family owned and operated with fantastic deals and great service. Everyone wants to work with people they can trust, so come on down to Hall's RV and get the deal of a lifetime. We'll treat you right and get you on the road in the camper of your dreams. Visit us on Highway 431 in Albertville. Hall's RVs, where we sell fun. Or see us on the web at www.hallsrvsales.com.
Hi, my name is Dan Aldridge. I'm here to let you know about the Aldridge Law Firm and the soon-to-be-announced Legal Town Center. I've been practicing law in Alabama since 1984, and I also practice in Tennessee. And I'm from North Alabama, and I'm here to represent you and take care of your legal needs. For many of us, hiring an attorney is not high on the priority list, and maybe a little scary. But it's something that we all need at some point. So by all means, do your homework. And if you need representation for car accident, wrongful death, medical malpractice, nursing home abuse, or estate planning, or any other matter, just give us a call at 256-534-3188. And you can email me at Dan, that is Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. God bless America.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. And we talked a lot of college football, and we heard from Nick Saban. We've heard from Hugh Freeze this week. We're going to get you some Josh Hype, but we're going to get you around the league. But the quote of the week does not belong to any coach in the SEC. It belongs to our very own Connell Maynard.
Oh, Lord.
The Bulldogs are getting ready to travel to Southern.
Yeah, remember on our media day.
On our tailgate tour.
He talked about how they've come close to beating Southern, but haven't been able to do it.
Well, here's Coach Maynard talking.
He had his coffee.
It's only like 15 seconds, but it's the best.
He definitely had his coffee this morning.
It's the best.
Or was this yesterday?
This was yesterday.
Oh, yeah, yesterday.
He had his coffee yesterday.
Okay. We know they practiced at like 5 or 5:30.
Yeah, well, we were not up. Well, we were up, yes.
Yeah, we were
getting ready. But here we go.
Getting ready, yeah.
Man, I'm very excited, man. We Bulldogs, and we're ready to bite. You see, I'm excited, man. I'm ready to go. It's game week. It's conference week, and and this is gonna rub off on my team. Those guys are excited. We had a good practice this morning.
One more time.
Man, I'm very excited, man. We Bulldogs, and we're ready to bite. You see, I'm excited, man. I'm ready to go.
Oh, Lord. Need to get after Southern. And this is they're traveling to Baton Rouge.
Yeah, they're traveling to Baton Rouge. Yeah.
There you go. Trying to give it to Southern Jags.
Man, there we go. Connell Maynard. All right. 256-576-4977. That's the number to the phone lines. If you want to be a part of the show, be a part of the program, you're more than welcome to. So Alabama's taken a lot of heat. We'll just say they're taking a lot of heat for the loss at Texas. Clemson, by the way, has taken a lot of heat for their performance. Okay? And Joel Klatt, who has said some outlandish things before.
He hit it on the head yesterday with Jalen Milroe, though, to me.
Right. Well, he also now has said, okay, hey, look, Alabama and Clemson, those two programs, you could say Clemson has looked on a downward slope, Alabama. But he does say Alabama and Clemson are not on the same trajectory. He's compared the two programs because both programs have been in the conversation the last couple of weeks. Here's just a second of what Joe Klatt has said.
Of the Saban era. I can just imagine right now. You guys remember what I did on Colin Cowherd a few years ago? It was after one of those Ole Miss losses. And I went on Colin Cowherd, and I was like, Alabama's got a Nick Saban problem. It was the dumbest thing I've said in my career. I will not repeat it. Period.
Hey, amen.
Period. Alabama is not going anywhere. Period. Okay? those of you that want to bury Alabama, let's be very honest. If you look at a team like Clemson and the way that they struggled with Duke on the road and what they looked like and what Alabama looked like against an elite Texas team, then we need to be honest with ourselves and say, like, those are two different things. Those teams 5 years ago, they were the preeminent programs in the country. Those who we were constantly asking ourselves, are we ever going to have a national championship game that's not Bama Clemson? Oh, Bama Clemson fatigue, this or that. These two programs are not on the same trajectory. Clemson's trajectory is headed down, period. Alabama may be flat, but they're not going anywhere, okay? Let's take this and be real honest with ourselves for a moment. How many teams could actually do what Texas did to Alabama even this year? And there's not many. There's not many. What Texas did is they owned the line of scrimmage, and then they forced Bama to play a game that they were going to be completely, I don't want to say unprepared, uncomfortable with playing. With Jalen Milroe as their starting quarterback, they need to play with the lead. This is no longer the Bryce Young and Mac Jones and Tua and Jalen Hurts. They've had an elite quarterback for a long time. They don't have that anymore.
There's just a little bit of Joel Klatt.
Yeah, but they need a quarterback to protect the ball, distribute it, throw it to the right people. It's just the accuracy, the decision-making, the rhythm. It isn't there right now. Now, could Jalen Milroe improve? We'll see. But, again, I thought Joel Klatt had a comment also this week about Milroe that I thought was spot on about he doesn't think it's fixable. I mean, that's what I'm saying. He doesn't.
That's the roll right type of stuff.
No, he says I would just say, Scott, we can pull it up later in the show, but it's an interesting comment about what he said about how Milroe's running the offense and the lack of going through progressions. Now, he did say he does go through his progressions, at times, but he said it's more about running plays than it is executing an offense. And so I thought it was an interesting comment that Joel Klatt made. I didn't think he held back. I thought it was very interesting what he said. And again, he just felt like that within Milroe's case, it's kind of he is who he is, and you either have to completely change your offense or you're going to need to give another QB an opportunity. So it's interesting what he said, though.
I am trying to find. I know where he said it, and
it was on the next round.
Yeah, and I am trying to get to it real fast because it's only 8:26, and if I can get to it here in a second, I will play it for everyone because you are right. It is an interesting. It's an interesting comment here, and I want to get to it. Anyway, here we go. Wait a minute. No, this is what the sky is falling moment for. This was when. Let me see if this is the comment. This is the interview that he did. Let me see if it's part of it.
Oh, the style of game was one in which Alabama was forced into throwing the ball, which that is a weakness of this version of Alabama, let's face it. Whereas Texas could kind of remain in their base offense and use the run and use misdirection and take shots. So, this game, if I was peeling it all back, there's only a few teams, there's only a few rosters in the country that can do to Alabama what Texas just did. That's why I don't feel like this is a sky is falling moment for Alabama. I really don't.
Oh, I guess I can't scroll down. I'm trying to do this here. Where did it go? Now I lost it.
But having said that, when you face a team like Texas, what I thought was the most surprising part was that Texas was way better in the second half, like substantially better at the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, providing pressure with their defensive line and then
owning the line of scrimmage with their offensive line. And that's something that I didn't really expect. And this is one of the things that Texas has really struggled with over the course of the last decade.
I don't know if that's it or not, but I'll try to find
play.
it as the show, as we get back to the show and stuff, because I know what you're talking about, and it's very interesting on the whole Jalen Milroe conversation. Let's get a break in, though, because when we come back, Josh Pate will join us. And we've heard from Josh Pate earlier in the show. We will talk about Alabama coming up next with Josh Pate.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A partly sunny sky this afternoon. Temperatures climbing into the low and mid-80s. Maybe an isolated shower across the area. Otherwise, it does look like we are going to end up staying dry. Temperatures drop into the upper 50s, lower 60s as we head into the overnight, early into your Thursday morning. Fairly confident most of us are going to start the day in the upper 50s. A partly sunny sky Thursday afternoon. Temperature climbing once again into the low and mid-80s. It does look like we are going to stay dry on Thursday. Much the same as we head into your Friday. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
We got a few folks running in last-minute dash mode this morning, but by and large, everybody's going to be in on time with no problem. You be careful as you make that last dash to your workplace, though. Expert heart care backed by advanced technology. If you need cardiac care, you need the Heart Doctor. Dr. Randall Burns and the team at Huntsville Heart Specialist on Bob Wallace Avenue. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com. Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
With us today, Dr. Tracy Lowry of Best Vein Care of Huntsville.
When we evaluate a patient and they indeed have significant venous disease, most third-party payers, private insurance, Medicare, require us to treat every patient conservatively at least 90 days. Conservative treatment includes increasing ambulation, elevation of the legs, and the wearing of compression stockings. It's very common for folks to come see us in March or April wanting to have their veins fixed before they go into swimsuits starting in June. When we see someone in March or April, they're going to require at least 90 days of conservative treatment before we can even go to the insurance carrier to get permission to treat their veins. So if you think you have a venous problem, now is the time to come in and get a free screening so we can determine whether or not you need something evaluated. If you have a vein problem or you think you may have a vein problem, now's the time to contact us at bestveincarehuntsville.com.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond with you on a, Wednesday morning. Mm-hmm. And we have had a very entertaining show so far. And I say that because there's been a lot of great conversation. A lot of it has been centered around the Alabama-Texas outcome. And we heard from Kool-Aid McKinstry talking about the lack of energy, or the players didn't quite, maybe prepare and practice well enough like they should have. We heard, and we did play our next guest. He provided us with a little bit of a clip about the Alabama coaching staff, his thoughts on where this coaching staff is compared to where it has been in the past.
Yeah, and we always enjoy our weekly visits with our next guest, of course. I think he's one of the best voices in college football. He was in Tuscaloosa for the game against the Texas Longhorns. It was great to touch base with him and see him. Of course, as you know, he's the host of the Late Kick Live. They were live last night. And then, of course, the Late Kick podcast. Of course, we're talking about Nashville, Tennessee's own Josh Pate, and he made the short trip to Tuscaloosa for the biggest biggest game in the country last weekend in college football. Josh, welcome back to the show. Good morning.
It is good to be back. Didn't feel like a short drive back home, by the way. That felt like an eternity.
Oh, it was an eternity. I drove back that night myself, no question. Tons of people in Tuscaloosa. You were in the press box. You were at field level. You tailgated. You were around all the atmosphere. What was your thoughts on this matchup of Titans that you saw on Saturday?
Well, I thought it was really interesting that throughout the course of the game, Alabama ended up feeling like the road team in their own building.
Yeah.
They were the one a little bit looser. They were the one more mistake-prone. They were the one whose opposing secondary lived in their backfield most of the night. It's just basically it's watching Texas do some of the stuff I have grown accustomed to watching Alabama do. And the other part that stood out to me that was probably the most glaring is I'm standing down there on the sideline, and I know I have followed Alabama all over this country for years, and I've stood on the field in opposing buildings watching them clear out opposing stands for years.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that I had ever seen Bama fans heading for the exits with 5 or 6 minutes to go in a game unless it was because they were blowing out someone in winning fashion. And so that was a little jarring. But overall, you know, no one's wrong when they say everything is still in front of Alabama.
Right.
They could have easily scheduled Toledo and won by 30 the other day and been undefeated, and they'd be the same team. We just wouldn't know the issues. So it is good to know your issues as early as possible. I also know this, though. I know that what we saw the other night probably leads to 1 or 2 more losses. Now, that doesn't mean what we saw the other night will be the team we see down the road. This is college football. Whether it's Clemson, whether it's Bama, whether it's LSU, like a bunch of these teams that are really talented have lost early, and a lot of folks are writing them off. That would be a mistake. But it's also, I think, well within reason to call out some of the things that are obvious. And the other thing that I think is obvious, and has been for a couple of years now, is one of Nick Saban's best edges he ever had was the ability to assemble a coaching staff that was the best in the country by a wide margin.
Yeah.
He just doesn't have the best coaching staff in the country right now. Now, it does happen to be my opinion, but even if that wasn't my opinion, that is a sentiment shared by some of the best minds in that corner of college football. There are people who specialize in that field, and they'll tell you quickly. Saban's got a top 10 staff, but he doesn't have close to the number 1 staff in the country, and it used to be, you know, not even 10 years ago, he had the best staff in the country, and there was a gap between Alabama and whoever was number 2. So Nick Saban hadn't changed. He's the same him he's always been. But the folks he's got working for him right now, it's a really good staff, and that's where you stop. It's just a really good staff. By Alabama standards, it doesn't measure up. So anyone who's listening and wants to complain about play calling or player development and placement or the inability to do this or that, preparation, adjustments, all that goes back to what I'm talking about. So all those problems are under the same umbrella, in my opinion, and that is their coaching staff just isn't as elite as it used to be. Therefore, expecting those kind of results is going to let you down when you don't get them.
You also highlighted it in your podcast or your show that in-game adjustments is something that Alabama, we used to see them. I mean, wow. In-game adjustments for Alabama was something that they were really, really good at. Now, we're not seeing that as much.
No, you're not. And I can tell you now that this home and home is done, Texas folks were willing to call anyone who'd pick up the phone Sunday and let them know, hey, there were some things we did all game and Alabama didn't adjust to. And so, look, that is what it is. Again, this is a team that's still good enough to win every game they play. But the difference is you are not out coaching people. You are not going to be able to run circles around folks' coaching staffs. So you may still have a talent edge. But the difference is Bama always gets everyone's best shot. It was just that they overcame that because they had a counter for it. Now the counter is you got to find yourself in dogfights. It's no coincidence. They played so many one-possession games last year. They lost 2 of them. They won some of them. That'll happen again this year. And it's always going to be against teams that you outclass. So you'll always have the more talented roster because Alabama's more talented than anyone they'll play the rest of the way. They're more talented than Texas. It's just going to be the kind of thing that you're going to have to accept. You can win a title. You can still do it. but you're going to have to do it in a different fashion than 42-13 every week like it used to be.
Well, we're talking to Josh Pate, 24/7 Sports, CBS Sports, and I also remember last week on your Late Kick Live, Late Kick Pod as well, you had a segment on what if Texas does win this game? What does it mean for Sark? What does it mean for Quinn Ewers? What kind of step was this for you for the Texas program? Because I know another comment you made last night was the JP poll has had a lot more movement than you were anticipating already so far.
Yeah, so the first thing people should know, and in a pure power rating standpoint, just in like a Vegas odds-making type metric, there is not a ton of space at the top. Normally in college football in the last decade, what we started to see happen, even in the first month, is you start to see tier one form. So you start to see a 1, 2, 3, and then there's this fall off. Right now, we have a grand total of about 10 points on a neutral field that separates the number 1 team in the country from the number 13 team in the country. That is a ton of competitive balance at the top. That's like an accordion if the accordion is pressed together instead of pulled apart. So it may change, but right now there's a lot of competitive balance, which means if you're a Texas team and you get bumped up 3/4 of a point on your power rating scale, that means that you could go from 9 to 2, and that's exactly what Texas just did. So all that's irrelevant. That'll play itself out. It's just fun to look at the numbers. But with Texas and Quinn Ewers, that's a career game for him. Like, that's a legacy game for him. Quinn Ewers has kind of arrived now. People can look at him as having validated the expectations that people had for him. It's as simple as that. Go win at Alabama, your career is kind of made. That's where Manziel took off. That's where the legend of Joe Burrow really started to take off. And with Sark, it's one game, but I'm a firm believer that some games in college football mean more than others, and anyone who says they don't is just kidding themselves. In the standings, it may mean one game, and in conference play, it means nothing because this was an out-of-conference game, but Steve Sarkisian knew. I went over to their hotel Friday when they got in town, and I hung around that team for a little while, hung out with Sark for a little while, and they were calm. You know, there was kind of a methodical approach, but it was so obvious. When you got 200 additional people in your traveling party, it's not just because they decided to flip a coin and pick the Alabama game. Everyone knows what that game's about. You got your agent there. You got both the big boys there that represent him. Like, that's understood that this is the game. We got to get this one, and he got it. And so now everything's on the table for you from a team perspective, but also, I mean, Steve Sarkisian can do whatever he wants at Texas, can ask for whatever he wants at Texas, and he gets it because he beat Alabama.
Well, now moving forward, the hard part is to finish the year off. Now everyone says, well, who can stop Texas in the Big 12? You win this one game, and all of a sudden now it's, well, you know, who's going to beat Texas in the Big 12? But Texas still has plenty of roadblocks ahead to get where they want to get.
Sure they do. Yeah, that's not a team, nor do I think we have a team in college football this year that's invincible.
Right.
I know Georgia's number one in a lot of people's power ratings. I mean, Georgia has struggled to generate pass rush, has struggled to do multiple things they've done to a dominant degree. They just haven't played anyone yet. Texas just played some 1-1, but, you know, if anyone out there in the country is viewing them as a runaway freight train and the rest of the country is just shooting BB guns at it, that is not the way that's going to set up at all. That's not the way I think it sets up for any team this year. I think in a broad scale perspective, we're probably headed towards a season of just complete and utter chaos, which is another reason why I think it's really, really short-sighted to take teams and write them off after they've lost a game. And you're writing them off because they're flawed. Well, Alabama's got quarterback issues. Well, LSU's got defensive back issues. Clemson's got wide receiver issues. That's only a detrimental flaw in a world where there's a flawless team. There is not a flawless team this year. Far from it. And so someone who is very flawed is going to win a national title, is going to win the SEC, is going to win the Big 12. That's where it'll get fun over the next month to 2 months, because there are some teams who have already lost. There are many, many more teams that have upset losses coming, and I don't even think the events that are going to shape the conference championship and playoff pictures have started to happen yet.
Yeah, that's a great point, and we are talking to Josh Pate. And Josh, where do you see? I know you said Alabama is still capable, of everything's still in front of them, and you made an interesting, comment earlier in our conversation today about how this Alabama team may not look the same, at a later point in the season. As you saw this team play, where do you think the changes come? I mean, there's been so much conversation about the quarterback position. I certainly think that's still a work in progress. I'm going to be interested to see, what we see this Saturday against South Florida from a standpoint of who plays the quarterback position as far as how many do. And then, because, again, that game with Ole Miss in 2 weeks I think it's a dangerous game.
Very dangerous game. Look, I know, and rightfully so, I know there's a lot of focus on the quarterback position.
Right.
I think they'll end up making a change there. But the thing about it is, if you don't give me better offensive line play than I saw the other night, it's irrelevant. It's just I don't care who we put back there; it's irrelevant. And also, that was crushingly disappointing to me. And maybe it's my fault for setting expectations in my own mind too high, but I don't think I did. Like, I look at that offensive line, and they are capable of and should be achieving at a much higher level than they did in that game. And you don't have the excuse of playing on the road, hostile environment, none of that. You were talking about what Tyler Booker said about maybe just expecting to win. I'm so tired of hearing that stuff. We've heard it for a couple of years now. Last year it was, the team had too much anxiety. This year they just weren't mad enough. What are we talking about? Like, from any other team in America, if you're a Bama fan, if you heard that garbage from any other team in America, you would call it for what it is, which is garbage. That's what it is when it comes from Alabama. And you're indicting yourself, by the way. When you got Texas coming in, and it's the most hyped game of the year, and you're telling me, well, we just weren't ready to play that one. Well, whose fault is that? And why would I put my trust in someone who's admitting that the rest of the way? So that offensive line is where the key is. If you put Buckner in, you put Simpson in, if they don't have better offensive line play, it's all a moot point. Everyone will look subpar.
Yeah.
Let's look at the rest of the SEC as a whole. Auburn survives a trip out west. Ugly game, but still, you go out west, you get a win, and now you come back, and you don't have to go out to the West Coast anymore.
Yeah, I doubt. Look, half that roster may never go that far west again in their lives, and be happy with it, by the way.
Yeah.
So, look, that was one where, if people are being honest with themselves, I don't think a lot of America took time to break down Auburn versus Cal ahead of time. So they probably just thought Hugh Freeze versus a team on the West Coast, expect a ton of points, first to 40 wins it. And then you look up and it's 14-10, and you think it's the end of the first quarter, and it's actually the end of the game, and you're like, all right, well, survive and advance, I guess, better than what the SEC's been doing elsewhere. I think it's that kind of game. I think you go out there, you get it done. I don't want to just gloss over the fact that Cal went to North Texas in week 1. We talked about this last week. That was expected to be a close game, and Cal just blew their doors off. So it may very well be that Auburn beat a better team than we think Cal is, but we won't realize it until a month or two down the road. I just think it's survive and advance right now, and you start gearing up for that Georgia game in 2 weeks, and I know that'll be a big point spread, but teams going on the road for the first time with a new starter at quarterback. Tennessee's going to do that this week, by the way. You never really know what to expect.
That's true. And then, Josh, we know you're going to Como. I think, is this the first time you're going to see the Missouri Tigers, who survived against Middle Tennessee? You're going to see them play Kansas State, who beat our guy John Summerall at Troy.
Yeah, that one was one where there were some people behind the scenes talking like Troy had a shot to pull that upset.
Mm-hmm.
And I look at that score. I look at that box score. I went back and watched the game. Kansas State pretty well dominated the game, and now they go to Missouri. You're right. I've never been to a game at Missouri before. It's an 11 a.m. kick, which I love because that means you get home that night. But I look at that one, and the edge Missouri has is basically home field. The first home sellout they've had since 2019, by the way. That's a pretty wild stat. And I find a lot of reasons to lean Kansas State in that one, but I also know how college football works, and I know they are replacing some really big pieces at Kansas State, and they have not faced equal competition yet. So if Missouri pulls that one out, it'll be because of reasons that are beneath the surface which we see every week. We'll see a team win early in the year, and then all of a sudden you'll say, wow, I wish I knew this, or that. Well, Missouri has to have some hidden this, or that pop up. Luther Burden, for example, that 5-star receiver, had 1 catch for 9 yards in this game last year. He's got to quadruple or quintuple that this week. If that happens, they can win the game. But Kansas State's a really, really good program. Not just team, really good program.
Yeah, they really are. So it's going to be a great road trip, more Pate State material.
Yeah.
And once upon a Saturday, the shirt business is good, I hope.
It is very good, and it has nothing to do with me. Good designers are worth their weight in gold.
They are. Well, we look forward to speaking with you next week about this trip and about college football. We always appreciate the time, Josh. Thank you.
I appreciate it, guys.
All right, thanks. Josh Pate with us. I'm surprised he didn't want to add to the craziness of the Colorado State game. Fox big game day, college game day. I mean, Josh Pate, he could have had all three there. Could have had all three big days there.
Well, trust me, there's big games coming up for Colorado. I know this is game day and all this.
I know. That's why you're getting it in now, because they're going to get their lumps later.
No, well, in the big, they're going to be. I mean, USC's fixing to. They're fixing to.
Oregon, USC, all on the horizon.
We'll see if Lincoln Sharman can beat him. So there's going to be a lot of conversation with Josh about Deion down the road. But this one, I think, is just a layup for game day, and they're going to smash Colorado State.
Let's get a break in. When we come back, we're going to talk some Braves baseball. Big night last night in the city of brotherly love.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Sounds like we may have just picked up a wreck on Research Park between Plummer and Oakwood. No injury reported. I'm not sure if we got any blockage there or not. Everything else seems to be winding down in good shape this morning. You be careful on the rest of your trip in. Officers, construction workers, and first responders put their lives on the line every time they step on the roadway. Why not make it safer for them? Slow down or move over. It's the law. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
Valley Equipment Rental has grown by leaps and bounds over the past year and is adding more and more equipment to their already impressive fleet. Valley is a locally owned family equipment rental business serving the entire Tennessee Valley. They concentrate on the local contractors, building repeat business and specializing in long-term rentals for their local contractors. The benefit of long-term rental is that they stay on top of their assets. If something you own goes down in the field, you have to stop and fix it before you can finish the job. With Valley Equipment Rental, they will fix it on site or bring you another machine while that one's being fixed. More importantly, Valley is locally owned and operated, which means when you have an issue, you can get someone on it right away, right here in the Valley. Heck, ask for Ross Roberts, the owner, if you like. Try calling one of the big box national outlets and asking for the owner. That's if you can even get through the automation. Buy local. Buy Valley Equipment Rental. Valley Equipment Rental has 2 locations, one on the North and South Parkway. Learn more at valleyequipmentrents.com.
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time, or even show up at all? I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is we show up. Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve, and we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs: residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. We are manufacturer certified for roof coatings, single-ply membranes, and asphalt shingles. Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding the solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing, we have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates, residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, it's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
This is Wes Neighbors sitting here with Philip Love of not only Eagle Insulation, now he represents Eagle Companies. Eagle through the years have added several companies to help individuals or builders through their construction renovation process. Eagle is known to represent quality, efficiency, and professionalism. Philip, I know you do insulation, but do you do masonry?
We do.
Do you do grading, erosion control, and dirt hauled off?
We do.
Do you do after paint, which includes shower doors, mirrors, shelving blinds, and bath hardware?
Yes, we do, Wes.
Do you do landscaping and irrigation?
Yes, we do.
So basically, Eagle can help you all along your process of building your house or doing renovations. So do you do plumbing?
We do not, Wes, but we can find somebody to do it.
Just give them time. They'll be there. Anyway, call Eagle Insulation at
256-755-1556.
Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money. Call Eagle today.
Thanks, Wes.
It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
All right, we touched on it briefly in hour number one. The Atlanta Braves continue to just crush the baseball. Matt Olson, 51st home run last night. That tied him for the franchise record for homers in a single season with Andrew Jones. The record-tying blast came against Zach Wheeler, top of the fourth. A 367-foot solo shot left center. Tied the game at 1. Braves did go on to win, though, 7-6 and 10. Olson tied the previous franchise mark. Jones had it in 2005. 2005 was the record. Olson, by the way, is batting .281. He leads the majors by 7 home runs. Does Matt Olson. In the past 71 games, Drew, he has hit .336 with 46 extra base hits, including 30 homers, 76 RBIs. To say that the Braves struck it good when they signed and got Matt Olson would be an understatement.
No, I mean, totally. He's been unbelievable since they brought him over. Certainly he doesn't hit the average Freddie Freeman does, but he's produced home runs, RBIs, very good defensive player. I mean, you couldn't have drawn it up any better if you're going to lose Freddie Freeman, who will be in Cooperstown one day, and bring in Matt Olson. And he and Acuna, I think, are the top 2 options for the MVP. Mookie Betts is on the Dodgers. The Dodgers are not right now. We'll see if they win the World Series, but the best regular season team in baseball is the Braves. That's what the hell the MVP is voted on. It's the regular season. We'll see. Hopefully the Braves can, win the World Series and really polish this off. But I still think the MVP to me is either Ronald Acuna or Matty O, and I think I would lean Acuna right now, especially if he gets to the 40 home run plateau. Right. But what an overall season when you're talking about Matt Olson could end up with, he's going to break the home run record first of all for the Braves.
Right.
And he could end up with 140 RBIs. That's just unbelievable.
And as a team, the Braves have already set the record for team home runs in a season. Mm-hmm. They beat the Dodgers mark, and we're still a few games left in the year. By the way, Braves are only 5 wins away from reaching the 100-win mark. They are 95-50 on the season. All right, that's going to do it for our Wednesday show. We'll be back at it tomorrow morning, 7 o'clock, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Talking ball. See you.
Here's Bobby White from Woody Anderson Ford on their service department.